sort of digest, and I think we sort of took the approach that a lot of companies take, where we should track this stuff and then we'll figure out what to do with it. And so there's a better way to do it, and I think some of the leading companies in the industry are doing it now. And so this is the talk about what you should measure, and the answer to that is it depends. And the hardest part is figuring out what to focus on, because there's so much of it that if you don't focus on the right things, and if you don't pick things to focus on, you just sort of get buried underneath it, and then it all becomes a blur. It turns into your inbox, and you just start ignoring stuff after a while. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys are like that, but that's the way my inbox is. And now I have a Gmail priority inbox, and now I can ignore things in sections. And so Mark Skaggs, when he worked on Command & Conquer, this might be a little old school for some of you. I'm probably older than a lot of you. He talked about when he was working on Command & Conquer and how he wanted to quantify the fun people had playing the game. And so he gave a great discussion. And so when he was working on, I forget the years, but when he was working on this, I feel like it was really sort of ahead of his time in terms of doing metrics-driven analysis. And so he took the game and he boiled it down to the 4 main activities that people would participate in. And then what he would do is he had his developers basically build a system that would track how much time people spent doing each of these activities. And then at the end of the mission, he would ask the player, did you have fun, did you not have fun? And he had a quantitative analysis for a very qualitative aspect of the game. And so I thought that was a really insightful and ingenious way to go about designing his work on Command & Conquer. And so interestingly enough, Mark Skaggs has been purchased by Zynga, and now works for them. And so it's actually amazing. Zynga has purchased an amazing amount of talent in the industry. Anyway, quantifying important qualitative aspects is a huge aspect of deciding what you need to measure. And then, as I mentioned in the previous slide, web games sort of they've got some of this problem with game development and design, but then they add an additional layer on top of that. And so your traditional e-commerce companies have been dealing with this for a long time. And so Amazon is a great one. So I worked for, back from the first slide, I worked for living.com, which is probably one of the biggest .coms in town. Huge flame out. We burned through, I think, $100 million. Yeah, it's fantastic. Can we get the Rolling Stones at the next Christmas party? Oh wait, there's no next Christmas party. And so, we were looking at all these sorts of analyses 10 years ago. And so, when did somebody start the checkout process, and how far did they make it through the checkout process, and what step did they quit on? And so web games are doing these sorts of things with a funnel analysis, where you might start with an ad campaign, right? And so how many people click on your ad? And then out of those people that clicked on your ad, how many people turn into players of the game? And out of those players, how many people come back next month? And out of those people who came back next month, how many people actually spent money? And so they're doing, the sophisticated companies in this space are doing real-time analysis on all this stuff. And so it all tracks back to revenue, and that's why companies like Zynga are. I don't know what that meant. Oh wow! I'm almost done. All right, let's get that. Let's get this. The important thing is to ask the right questions as early as possible, and then validate or invalidate your assumptions, and then iterate quickly through this loop. And so one of the really interesting things, I'll go back to the game jam, is that with a game jam, this is sort of what you're doing. You're putting together your ideas, you're building your systems, and then you're handing it to somebody and saying, look, what do you think of this? And so it doesn't matter whether you're building like a sophisticated virtual world or a simple system like World of Goo, it's getting that feedback early and being able to iterate on it that's really important. And obviously you need to track the data, and so you have to ask the questions early on in the process so you can have systems in place that allow you to track the right data, and so you can answer those questions. And so I'll wrap up with, this is like some further reading. Lean Startup is a great methodology that's coming out. It's sort of birthing as we speak, and a lot of high-tech startups are using it. It's sort of where I borrowed that diagram from. And it talks a lot about how to build technologies quickly, get feedback, and iterate through that loop. Ash Moria is a local entrepreneur. He's got his own website, really smart guy. These guys are much smarter than I am, and so really good to read their work rather than listen to me. And then mosoch.com is my company. If you want to talk to me, just talk to me after the show. All right, thank you.
Really, that was kind of my job to let him know about that. And on behalf of the chapter, I apologize. But as he said, he'll be around. If you want to stay later, he will talk to you.